domestic violence. This is the topic most of us we don't usually talk about it. Domestic violence is a willful intimidation which happen physical assault, sometimes sexual assault. It may happen emotionally too. It depends with the two people what they're going through together. It's a real big abuse behavior on those two partners, and it really hurts especially many women in the whole globe and the world, not only for African communities. I did a small research which shows that domestic violence is usually conducted there. The violence happening in African communities, because now in the United States the African community population is growing up, and so the writer tried to combine the research of domestic violence, and it shows that African women, they are more likely to be abused with their spouses or their partners here in the United States. So because of this growing population, and many women, they're here working hard, and they don't understand the laws over here, and they don't even know that they're abused. They think maybe it's normal, and which is not normal. Being abused with your spouse, that means it's a violence. It depends. They may be abused verbally or physically, but they don't even know that they're abused. Domestic violence particularly happen more against women, and this is a huge problem which experience around the world. And it's not surprising to see that a woman which comes from Africa as an immigrant continue to suffer over here after she immigrated here already from where she comes from, and still she's continued to be abused in the United States. A study of domestic violence against women here in the state showed that domestic violence is one of the most common which can victimize immigrants, people who are coming here, even though they're in the free land and there is some resources here, but still they are still receiving violence from their spouses, and nobody talks about it. Violence keep playing part in domestic violence here. Many African countries have recognized right now the danger of how domestic violence is, and now they have laws which are acting and they're taking seriously about what happened to women. A long time ago, those days, the old culture, now we have things change. We don't have those old culture like it used to. The long time ago, they used to believe and seem that to ignore about the domestic violence. They used to ignore. They didn't take serious about that and look deeply, and especially for men, because they are the number one abusing the women. And then even when they immigrate here to the United States, they still have that back home mentality that they are the men and they can do whatever they want to their wives. And it's not in this century now. It used to be in those centuries. So they come here in the state with that mind that they can do whatever they want, even though there is laws here, but they still have that ethic problem with them. A lot of countries in Africa, they don't have the laws to protect women from domestic violence. Even now, though now they already started to take it seriously, like I said earlier. The countries that the ones they protect women, they have those laws, and to enforce the law, they are very few. It's not many countries. As a result, it's not easy to see any African woman going to having a problem with the husband or fighting or any kind of domestic violence and run to the law enforcement to get justice. There are very few of them who go to get the assistance, and they can be quiet, and they don't want to get the assistance to turn in that abuser. So the culture always play the part of this, because the culture wise, they often use the reason, they find any reason to excuse and not to turn in that abuser and continue to be controlling toward that partner, and continue that violence, which is really sad. Most victims of domestic violence they're really scared. They fear to tell anyone about what they're going through. They don't want to talk to anybody in their community. Sometimes they don't want to discuss about it, the abuse, because they feel it's like a shame to them. They feel embarrassed. So most of these women, they often follow their culture belief of what they believe, and they don't want to break that boundaries of the culture, because it's like a taboo. If they have to leave the abuser, they might do that. But if they do that, that means they have to leave their own community. Which is really tough for them. And most of them, if they talk with their friends or family members, most of the time they will advise them to just hang in there and just pray about it and be patient. You have to stay on your marriage and things gonna be okay. Just hang in there. So they continue to stay like that with the pain. And they don't talk because of that. Here in the United States, they really have fear, because fear is playing a big part over here for those immigrants who they come here and they don't have any documentation for citizenship. So most of them, they have that fear, and they often just don't take any legal action against their spouses, because they're scared they may face deportation maybe, or something may happen to them, and they get in trouble, because they don't have any document. Or sometimes they're scared to lose the custody of their children. Sometimes the children, they can end up in the CPS, which is not a good thing. So they have to hang in there. Sometimes even the children, they know, so they stay quiet. They don't even make noise, because they know CPS may take them away. So most of the time, these women, they be brought here with their husbands, and they don't know where to go. So they often, they're housewives maybe, or even they may have jobs. They go to work and they come back home. They continue to be housewives, and they don't have no friends, or they don't have any family member here. If they have any problem, they go and get help. So they are really all alone by themselves. So the ones who they can break that fear, they're the one, maybe they've been here for some time and they know the laws here, so and regulations, so they can run and just go and talk about it. Or sometimes they even don't talk too, because of the culture thing. I've been talking more about immigrants, and I didn't go in detail. There is immigrants who are citizens living here, and they have families for a long time, and they're going through a lot for domestic violence. And you see, like a husband and wife, they work several hours, 24/7, every day, no break, or maybe they have just 12 hours break, but they one 12 hours, another one 12 to 12 is like that, and 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. is like that, and they don't have time to sit down as families, and it brings a lot of anxiety in the home, and the lack of communication, is not good especially for our children. So they don't have time to balance the work and lifestyle, and if the husband may be drinking too, and start like that and become a substance use, not substance use, and become substance abuse. So abusing the family by talking, maybe yelling in front of the kids without even knowing how the kids doing at school or anything. So, and that one is part of bringing the conflict in the cultures, and for that lack of knowledge and communication. And other husbands still, they're living here, they're living in their homeland, back home, even when they're physically living in the US, but still they have that culture mentality on their head. They're still abusing here, and another ones is the women here. They're here working hard, and send money to their husband back home, because their husband, maybe they don't have visa to come here yet, so they're over there overseas, and they have the children there too. So you work hard here as a woman and send money to your husband back home, and and sometimes the husband back home has another wife, and that's one is part of abuse, even though we don't talk about it. We don't see like that way. We see like it's normal, but it's part of abuse. Balancing life is a big topic because in the house, in the home, the family, maybe the husband and the wife, they both work 12-hour shifts. Example, so the wife work early in the morning, 7 to 7, come home, and while you're coming home and your husband is going to work, so the wife has to come home and prepare for the house, the kitchen, the husband, the children, and at the same time she's so tired and she is really burned out, and that's how the anxiety is starting. And then it's gonna bring, if the husband talks something and maybe the wife, she's tired, she doesn't want to talk, and that's how the lack of communication starts, and is a problem starting over there. So, and maybe the husband get upset and can go outside and start drinking, and how that substance use starting, and it end up to be substance abuse, and then it's alcoholic. So it's very hard, especially in that community, if they have their community together and they know that this family is always fighting, they get tired, and because they know the husband is alcoholic. So, and even though sometimes it's because of the stress what they're going through, to chasing the bills, because that's how we burn out for that, working for paying the bills. So the children, they need help to get their homework done, but the parents, they are very busy, they don't have time. So it is very tough, and the network to help to educate this kind of family, you really need to find a place that how they can balance their lifestyle and their work style. They can be home together with their family. Is very, very important. Most of African communities are peers to peers, helping each other in any issues happen between their families, especially if it comes to domestic violence issues. Most of them, if they have a big issue like domestic violence, they go to churches or mosques, on the mosques, to their leaders and talk about it and discuss and get help from there. Because if you go to a church or a mosque, they have some resources in there to, maybe they can refer them to where to go and help them spirituality too for them. On the other hand, they may go to their families or their friends and sit down to talk about it and discuss about it and see what they can solve. It's not like where they come from over there, because if you back home in in Africa, they call the elders, and elders sit down and talk about it, and they call the other elders. But here, since we don't have families over here, it's going to be really tough. So they have to go to the leaders of the mosque or the church. So it's going to make it easier, and that's what they believe too. So it's good for them. And because of most of these women, they are unaware. They don't even understand if there is resources that here existed. So they don't know. And even if they know, they may be scared to go to. The solution of having a peer navigator is going to be great. To having them spread the information and give the knowledge to those people who are affected with abuse. It's going to be a great way to share, with the African community, because themselves, they're Africans and they've been there too. So the goal of this study is to help to share by using peer navigators to help reduce the domestic violence in respect and big honor for these peers that are going out there and base for the African community to share their experiences of domestic violence, because themselves, they've been abused before, and they get a way how to get out of that abuse without scaring and face the reality. So it's going to be a good challenge for them to go to these families and introduce themselves and try to talk about it. I do some of that myself too. I do volunteer to some few families myself here in DFW and help some of the women who they've been through domestic violence, and because I'm a woman and I've been there too, done that.